Hi, I'm Mark, and Subliteral Network is my channel. I make art and comics, and you're very welcome to come in. You can read my comics, Una the Cave Bunny and Tiger Team 3, free at radiocomics.com, along with my free daily Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter posts. All these links are in the description, and let's get started. Now, nobody remembers this, but it's still cool. TC Comics used to publish the Teen Titans comics starting back in like the 1960s, and there was Wonder Girl who was just sort of conceived as a teenage Wonder Woman, although they never really explained that. They never got into it, and they put her in like a knockoff Wonder Woman suit, which was really not that great looking. But later on, they revamped her and they put her in this red bodysuit that you see with the white stripes going on it. No, this is one of my ballpoint sketches on a paper bag. But that suit was just such a change. It was so fantastic. They featured it on the cover in which the suit debuted, and even on the old Wonder Woman TV show, when they had Deborah Winger playing Drusilla, they called her Wonder Woman's younger sister, and the top half of her suit is exactly like this. It's red with stars going across, following the line on her chest. And I thought that was just such a cool homage, something done back in the 80s when, designers kind of looked around and really tried to be a little more true to the source material in some cases. They really tried with that Drusilla suit, and I really like that because the original design was so fantastic. A lot of the old Silver Age artists were, really pretty well trained illustrators and artists, and they had a sense of design, and that's where some of the most classic superhero designs came from, is the 1960s and the 1970s, when some just superior artists were working in the field, just very skilled people. And that is the visual language, the legacy that we have, that by which we recognize these brands and these characters. So it doesn't do to underestimate the skill of the old masters. This is an Amazon pencil sketch, and this is about as much work as I put into it before I start jumping in with the Sharpies. It's kind of it's a very informal drawing, so the amount of planning and stuff that I do is really not very much for this. It's mostly just to keep in practice, to keep my pencil and inking hand going, because you can kind of lose it after a while. You can lose your spontaneity. So even if you don't really feel like drawing something, you just start drawing, and there's some kind of automatic process that just sort of keeps your hand loose, flowing, and expressive. I used to buy the Sonic comic digests at the drugstore, and I was really impressed with the level of art being done in them. But the stories were really involving and really good, and the art was it was levels above a lot of the different anthropomorphic art that I had seen. Those artists are just really good, and after a while I got the bug that I really wanted to draw Sonic comics. So this is a sample, one of the pages that I drew up. Now, right in the middle of when I was drawing these samples, Archie Comics stopped publishing Sonic comics, and at the time there was no, it was just over. They abandoned the line. There were no more Sonic comics coming out, so I just finished these up and I put them aside. So I think it was a few months, something before, a company called IDW picked up the Sonic license, and they started producing a couple of Sonic comics. Nowhere near the amount of Sonic publications that Archie Comics was doing. So I said, listen, there are like maybe dozens of artists who draw the Sonic comics at Archie, and they're only doing one or two of them at IDW. It became a very crowded field very suddenly. So I said, I didn't send them in because they were only using their established artists at the time. And I said, that's kind of how it's going to be. There's just no room. And I suppose that's how it's going to be for a while. I've heard from different people who have published at Sonic before, just conversations I'd had where they talked about the process, and it just seemed more trouble than it was worth for the reward you might get. I could be wrong about that, but I still like drawing the characters, and I should probably just start doing some much more serious fan art and putting that online to instead of drawing these pages until I see a better future, possibly. It's nah, that's not much of a way to approach it. You want to work with the idea that you're going to get the work, not with the idea of waiting until everything is perfect. This is a small Sharpie drawing that I did on a piece of recycled cardstock that I found. Just started drawing, didn't quite have anything in mind until I developed it into what you're seeing right there. And this is the version that I did. Once I finished inking it, I colored it up in Sketchbook Pro. I ended up putting her in this like some insanely toxic green gas environment. She's got the barrette in her hair, the skull, which means just everything is dead, but somehow she's alive and smoking, which, you know, is, you don't see a lot of smoking in comics anymore. For one thing, I think people, they feel like it's bad for kids to see characters smoking. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but I never stopped. I have tons of characters that are always smoking. It's just something more to add into the picture, add a little atmosphere, attitude, and well, smoke. But this is how that one came out, and I ended up kind of liking it a lot. It's one of those things where you just start experimenting and doing things you wouldn't ordinarily do, and you end up getting a few things out of it that you end up liking.